Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Play Along Podcast, the podcast where we play through games. And in today's episode, we are here for the finale of The Drifter, going through episodes 8 and 9 of the game. I'm very excited to get into the end and to review the game here because it was a lot of puzzles, a lot of frustration, but also a lot of fun too. So I'm excited to get into it. I'm your host, Jared, and I'm joined by Kai and Ben. As always, gentlemen, how are you doing today? How's it going?
Doing well.
Ooh.
Yeah, doing good.
I feel like I was just here.
Ooh, you were just here because we just recorded an episode before this.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. An episode that I think you guys have already heard. Yeah, it's the very fun Jeopardy episode, which, I learned a lot from that episode in hosting and being a game show host. And, I feel better for it moving forward.
Okay. It was a controversial tie.
The fact that ended up in a tie is crazy. Yeah.
No, to be fair, no, it was a good episode. But I'm good. I went off, and this is very, very British. I had a scone with some clotted cream and some jam. Fucking.
Why make that? You don't like scones, Kai?
It's a lot.
It is just the vessel for the clotted cream and the jam.
Also, clotted cream sounds disgusting.
Oh, it's so good. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. Just like really thick, rich. Like almost like whipping cream, like
okay,
it's almost kind of like a whipping cream sort of situation. But it's good stuff. Anyway, yeah, I had some food. I'm refreshed and I'm back and ready.
Yeah, the episode breaks are nice. Recording an episode and then taking a little break and reflecting, and then coming back on another one. It's good. We have more energy in this episode than we did in our 8 a.m.
That's true. I'm more caffeinated than I was.
That's true.
Which is good.
How are you, Jared?
Kai's here. He's ready to go. I've been doing good. I've been playing so much Pokemon Champions, trying to grind to master, and it has been rough.
Are you enjoying those like pseudo pay to win mechanics?
It's weird because it's not really pay to win. I mean, you can use the currency, but you can't buy the currency with real money. So it's like, sure, you can use the currency to get like all the good Pokemon, but you can't like just dump your real money into it in order to
be fair. I made an assumption, not really knowing everything. So I knew okay, that people
typical gamer over here.
Yeah, there was something about like the basic. I think it was basically that you have to grind like initial grinding and putting in that you have to put the hours in to get the good Pokemon in order to be able to
Yeah, it's been good. I've been loving it, but I've been stuck in Ultra Ball tier, which is just the back and forth of playing ranked games is just
where is Ultra Ball? Are we talking like on the actual Pokeball scale? Are we talking like Poke Great?
Yes.
Ultra Ball is just directly below Master Ball. If I had to take a guess.
Yes. So each tier has like a 4, 3, 2, and then into the next one. So I'm Ultra Ball 3 right now. So I have to go 2 more in Ultra Ball, and then I can get to Master, and Master's the top.
Okay.
Yeah, from my competitive Pokemon people.
Conversation in the world.
Hey, someone out there is also loving Pokemon Champions just as much as me. Okay, there's one person out there. If you're listening,
right, there is one person.
Yeah. That one's for you, Doc.
And that's all I need. Gentlemen, but we are not alone for the finale. I'm very excited to have our guest for this episode, point-and-click adventure, cozy horror gamer, and lover of pixel art. It is Chrissy, aka Pointyclick Reader. Chrissy, thanks so much for coming on the show. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me. No, I'm doing well. That was a very nice introduction. I'm very happy to be here. Very excited.
Yes, yeah, I know. I was telling the boys when I was looking for guests for this episode, I was like, look, I know someone, and she's like the point and click adventurer here. She's the expert. So if only to talk about the Drifter, which is a very interesting game, but also to pick your brain about like puzzles in these games, because as listeners know, we struggled with the puzzles range from like fun and interesting to like, how the hell am I supposed to figure this out? So
yes. The idea of being vindicated and not feeling as dumb as I actually feel is very enticing.
Yeah, these games make it their mission to make you feel stupid. I really think so. I think there's like 1 or 2 people who can play them without walkthrough. I don't know what IQ level you have to do that, but the rest of us.
God bless those making the walkthroughs for us.
Oh my God. Like the Steam community walkthrough for the Drifter has been a godsend for us. So shout out to you. I think we shouted you out in the last episode, but just like doing the Lord's work, really.
I'm using the Lord's work into indie games. They're one as well, which is also very good. But without people
one
like them. Oof.
There's one website that's something like something hints, and then it only hints at the solutions to the puzzles, so that it doesn't completely reveal it. I like to go for them, but I think I played the Drifter before they had their thing up, because it takes it takes longer for them to put it up because they have to like craft all the hints and stuff. But that's nice. Then you don't reveal the whole puzzle straight away.
The hint for this game is just use screwdriver.
Yeah, screwdriver is used a lot for even towards the end. Even towards the end,
so important.
Still using the screwdriver.
Yeah, I think there's some point where Sanjay or someone says, "Oh, you could maybe find a screwdriver over there," and then you already have it in your inventory. I'm like, bro, I've been carrying this.
I know.
This has been my best friend throughout this entire game. So I got this.
There's a reason there's a Phillips head on a Swiss Army knife. Okay, that's the.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. But Chrissy, if people are unfamiliar with you and the work that you do, your YouTube channel and everything, why don't you let them know kind of what you do on the internet?
Yeah, so I like making playthroughs of point and click adventures, but sometimes I get a little bit lazy and then I just play through demos or just the start of a game, just to sort of show the intro to a game. And then on my Instagram and TikTok, I post some gameplay clips and some recommendations. So I'm not very good at reviewing games because I kind of always want to show some love, because it's mostly solo devs or very small teams making these games. So I don't want to say anything bad. So if I say I recommend something, then I really recommend it, because then I've played it, I've loved it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Yeah. No, I love the demo content is really cool, because I found so many interesting games that I had never heard of through your content, and even games that are like more popular, like most recently, probably not as of recording because this is coming out in like late June, but Fishbowl recently came out, and I know a lot of people are talking about that. So even having your playthrough of the demo and people knowing there's a demo out there, they can check it out for themselves is cool. Like I don't see a lot of people highlighting demos specifically, so it's really cool to just get that game out there for people, and they can play it too. If they watch your content, they're like, oh, this is cool, they can go and play it right then and there too.
I need to try more.
Yeah, because the wish lists are so important for specifically on Steam, to upvote the game and push it out to more people. So yeah, I hope if a demo helps to get 1 or 2 more wish lists, then I'm happy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the link for all of Chrissy's stuff, YouTube, Instagram, all that will be down below. I highly recommend it. Again, I love seeing your content when it pops up on social media. And again, the demos that you highlight, I'm like, I never even heard of this game. There's at this point too, I love indie games, but there's so many of them. There's so many indie games, and it's easy to get lost in the sauce too. So it's cool to like find ones that kind of can break through the cracks with people like you that are highlighting them.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, well, let's do a little bit of housekeeping before we jump into today's episode. Whether this is your first time, and hey, if this is your first time, you should follow us, like the thing, review, do all that fun stuff that we normally do. We've been reading your comments. If you leave comments on Spotify, Kai will read them, and he's told us that he will not judge you as harshly as he has before. So
it's true.
If you're afraid
we're growing and learning.
If you're afraid you're going to be lambasted from grammar and spelling, then Kai will try his best to.
I will try my best to withstand not making those comments, but we'll see.
There's no promises though. I don't know if it's egregious. I don't know if you're going to be able to hold back.
No.
Kai's like a road cop. You never really know how he's going to act. It's like
a couple misplaced commas, I might go off the handle,
or too many commas. The last one was there was too many commas. So
strange commas in places they don't belong. But,
yeah, exactly.
Great job, everybody.
Yes, if you're new here, please welcome, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This is your first episode or your 314th episode. We are Play Along podcast that plays through games in a book club format. What we do is myself, Kai, and Ben, we each take turns choosing a game, then break it up into sections and come together kind of every other week to talk about each one of those sections specifically. We always recommend that you play along with us, interact with the show, Instagram, on social media. Again, you can leave Spotify comments if you are playing along with us. Keep an eye out for sales. All these games usually go on sale. There's a play along curse where we announce a game, and shortly after we all purchase it, it then goes on sale. So if there's a game that you're wanting to play that's going on sale, then hey, recommend it to us and we'll play it, and then you can get it discounted. So there you go. That was for you. We're doing the Lord's work out here, helping people out.
Yeah, that's how you got me with Dispatch.
Yep.
Full price.
Yeah. Dispatch was an interesting one because the play along effect was like delayed. It went on sale like a week or two after like people started buying it. I'm like, dang, sorry guys. sorry about that. Yes. But again, always a great time to jump in, join the conversation, and play along with us too. And hey, we are here. We are here with the finale of the Drifter. I'm excited to get into it. In the last episode of the Drifter, we ended. How did Chapter 7 end? I think we were gathering all the information, and we were
found. Sorry, I cut you off there. Sorry, Doug.
No, go for it.
We'd determined the means, motive, and opportunity for Roth.
That's right.
And we concluded that he was going to deliberately overload the reactor. He'd been lying about the radiation warning. And the plan was that people would go into their bathrooms in their rooms, put on one of the visors, and he would use that to do like a massive phase flip and go back in past and save his wife. And we went to confront him. That was how that ended.
Perfect. And then before we jump into chapters 8 and 9, I'm going to chin over to Chrissy. So I'm curious of kind of
what are you going to do with your chin?
I said send it over. Let's send it over.
Send it over.
Didn't elaborate as much.
I'm going to chin it over to Chrissy.
I just went with it. I was like, yeah,
sure. Why not? Right.
No. Don't let him get away with this shit, Chrissy.
No, please. Please let me get away with it. I'm going to send it over to Chrissy. I've been doing a podcast for 5 years and 300 episodes. I could do this. But I'm curious with you on some of your kind of first impressions with the Drifter, and if you have any kind of thoughts or, comments on any of the story stuff that has happened up to this point too.
Yeah, so the Drifter it's a very modern take on the point and click adventure. It's really different to how it's been done. Like the game actually creates a sense of urgency, and even though you don't have any, what is it called, permadeaths or anything, you die. I don't know. It drives up the blood pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting and a different viewpoint, and it also touches on like some difficult topics: loss, grief, homelessness, all these kinds of things that you don't really, that's difficult to address in gaming. So I was really enjoying the game up to this point, and it was never predictable where the game was going. So these Malinji monster thingies, you were never sure, is it just Mick hallucinating or are they real? And the game did a good job of creating the suspense. And also I really enjoyed the bucket. What is it called? The bucket hat butcher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bucket hat butcher.
Yeah, I enjoyed that whole sequence where you're just fully convinced that he's a serial killer, and then later you're like, oh, he's helping us now. I don't know. It was a really, really interesting sequence, and then the bit where he just steps on the landmine. That was.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. It was crazy. I legitimately my jaw dropped when that happened. I was like, oh no.
I mean,
I let out like a choked laugh. It was really weird.
Not to jump ahead, I thought the dude at the end was him. I was like, oh shit, he survived.
Oh yeah,
not in fact actually.
Oh, that would have been cool actually to bring him back, because I had thought of why did they get rid of this character? Because I was enjoying him. So why did they?
He would
take
have been
him
very
out
handy
on the
to
last
have again.
He got turned to goo. I don't think there would be any crawling back.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
No, he was gone. And then the whole segment in the, what do they call it, the compound or whatever, where you're kind of questioning your own sanity. You're like, is everything here just fine? Are they just helping people? And then eventually it's very clear, no. Roth is a big fat villain and everything's horrible. So that's basically where the game leaves you before we continue.
Exactly. Like trust your gut. So we'll get into kind of doing our full reviews of the Drifter towards the end. But I'm curious, with someone that's played a lot of different point and click adventure games, kind of where's the Drifter kind of fall into kind of some of the other ones that you've played?
Oh, this is definitely a very good game story-wise, because it's so gripping, and even through all the difficult puzzles, you continue to stay engaged with the story and you want to see it go forward. A lot of the other point and clicks have a fantasy approach or quite a bit of magic or stuff like that. So this was a bit different. Would it be science fiction? I'm not sure where you would classify this, and more horror. I mean, you get quite a few horror point and click games, but this one had a very different approach. But I think there were adventure game where they gave out awards and stuff, and this one was always mentioned in the top 3, top 5. So I think everyone in the community agrees that this is an excellent game.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because it kind of passed, not to speak for the both of you, but it kind of past our radar. Like I didn't even know this game existed until Kai had brought it up. And like we talked about before recording, we've played other games similar to this, right? Norco's kind of point and click. Kentucky Route Zero has aspects visually that are the same. And even the sense of it being almost fantastical realism, presenting one way of being very grounded. And as it goes on, especially with this game playing around with like Mick's sanity, you really throughout the whole time are wondering like what's real and what isn't. Is this actually like a fantastical realism? Is this something that Mick is making up? And I think that's really cool. I really love that.
Yeah. How did you find the game, if I may ask?
Very embarrassingly, I found this using Gemini because, we were looking for games to play because we had to bulk. And so I had to figure out something that was like, generally I put like something like Norco, something like Kentucky Route Zero, something with like a deep story. And then it pooped out a bunch of things, and then I went to all the Steam pages for them, and this looked the most interesting and the most kind of approachable in this format that we do, especially because it had been chaptered out. So that's how we, unfortunately, our AI overlords.
I had to kill a couple trees so we could play the Drifter.
Yeah, I had to kill part of the rainforest so that I could figure out a game to play on my podcast.
Okay, because it was quite hyped in people who play point and clicks. I don't know. There's a few YouTube channels that definitely talked about it, and I don't know if they had like a good marketing person because they kind of got the demo out to these people to play. So I'm kind of sorry to hear that it didn't make it outside of the bubble, But if AI is pushing it forward, then all right. Then
this is one good thing then.
It must have made itself a little bit out of the bubble. Maybe it just didn't reach our radar, but I feel like people, like for instance, like Matt Storm, who's like was super zoomed in on the indie community.
Yeah,
they kind of like knew about it, and then they were like, "Oh, like I've heard of this. I've wanted to play it." So I think like people who've really got their like finger on the pulse kind of knew, but it's not. It's not kind of exploded in the way that like Fishbowl or like Mouthwashing or whatever like that. Like it's not kind of had its burst moment at the minute, but
even both of those, like when you played Mouthwashing, I knew of Mouthwashing. Even now, I'm going back and forth on like when or if Fishbowl will show up on the podcast, but because so many people have been talking about that, and I know very little about it, which is I always love going in not knowing much. I just know everyone's like, this is such a good emotional gripping narrative, and we love a sad boy game. We've talked about it. We love emotional games here on the podcast too. But yeah, it was wild because this game's also not that old. It just came out last year, so it's crazy that it's almost a year old actually. July 17th is when it came out last year, so not even a year old, which is kind of wild.
I feel like point and clicks are very like polarizing though. I feel like some people have maybe this is just
people need more like gameplay,
but I think like also like some point and clicks, if you don't gel with a point and click, it's really easy to kind of fall off of it and to kind of be like, do you know what, that genre of game isn't for me, so I just won't go near it ever again. When in reality, it might just be like a bad point, and it might just be a bad game. It's not necessarily that the point and clicks are bad games. It's just like you didn't have a good experience with that one. And I feel like they're kind of one of the like, seems like farming games. I feel like people who love farming games really love farming games, and then other people are like, I do not touch them. I don't understand it. I don't get why people play it.
Yeah, there's definitely a rich community tapestry of point and click game enjoyers out there.
Yeah, and point and click sort of went silent for a while. So in the beginning, I don't know if you're familiar with Monkey Island and that series of point and clicks. Yeah. So that was in the beginning, everyone was talking about it. It was hyped. And then there was 10 years or something where not much happened. And then now there's been quite a boom. Like last year, we got about 5 really excellent point and click adventures that we were all struggling to rank them. What's the best one?
Yeah.
And it's just, there's just more and more coming out. So I feel like it's been revived. People are talking about it again and into it again.
Well, even with me, after playing this, I was like, I need to play more games like this. Like, I know it's very puzzly, and it requires a lot of like mental capacity to solve puzzles. But a game where I can just play with my mouse and that's it. Like it's a button. That's the only thing I'm using is clicking. Like it's less interactive than other things. It almost feels, even though again there's lots of high stress moments in this, it feels a little more laid back than if I'm playing something with a controller or doing something that requires a bunch of crazy button pushes and things like that too.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a bit of a button masher. I'm not good with combat. I can't stand it. I get frustrated very quickly. So this is more my style of.
I was like,
Amen.
Kai is right there with you.
Okay.
Amen.
Yeah.
I'm not alone.
Luckily,
definitely not.
luckily, Dispatch's QuickTime events weren't egregious at all. But that was like, if it was any
that was
worse,
fine.
that would have been, been like, nope, I'm done with this.
Yeah, if there was like a third button incorporated, I'm out.
Yeah,
The 1-2 click, that was fine.
Yeah.
A third one, no.
Yeah. Okay, well, getting into these chapters, we'll start with chapter 8. In the last episodes we've been doing is we've been kind of talking around some of the puzzles that we enjoy, and then after that, kind of going down the narrative aspect of this. Ben, was there any puzzles in particular here that in this one stood out to you in chapter 8?
I think the main kind of puzzle that stood out was like one that I solved accidentally.
That's funny.
Which was at the very end, the situation with Roth and kind of how you handle that and de-escalate that. Because you have this cartridge, and the whole idea is you're trying to get the cartridge into the console so you can stop Roth from being able to phase flip. And the first time I did it, I'm sure is what you're supposed to do. I tried to shoot Roth, and he would like Goku fucking instant transmission.
Yeah, he's like,
knew what was
teleporting
coming,
out of
like,
the way.
Yeah,
Matrix style is crazy.
And so we'll talk about that, but that happens. So like, I went back and I was like, pointed the gun at Roth, and I was like, he's gonna know what I was gonna do, and I was like, well, what happens if I point the gun at Mick? And then that was kind of like how you progressed it, and I was like, oh, okay, shit, like there is, and then that was kind of how
you have to kill yourself.
Yeah, well, that's how
I get it.
We were starting to use the phase flip to our advantage. Like we'd got the passcode, and now we were deliberately phase flipping all the way back to a point where we could give it to Klein. I'm in a
okay. So
go on.
So hold on.
Go on. I know what he's going to say. He's going to say.
Here's my problem. The entire premise of
continuously.
Yeah, the entire premise.
I knew
the entire premise of this game is that Roth is trying to make it back to a point in time. If you can just kill yourself endlessly to get back to any point in time you want,
why wouldn't you have just?
Why the fuck wouldn't you have done that? Anyone? Bueller?
It is
Bueller?
a bit of a
Anyone?
because basically the whole purpose, like the whole reason that Roth's there is because he needs those neural pathways to be able to phase flip further back, right? So I didn't see the point in pointing the gun at Mick initially because I was like, well, I'm just going to die and then come back to where I was. But then when it happened, I actually
which is what has happened
like
throughout
3
the whole
minutes.
game.
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm going to leave that for the plot
Maybe
stuff. It doesn't make sense, but
maybe he didn't think about that. Maybe he didn't consider that in order to go back further.
But overall, for the most part, chapter 9, I struggled a little bit with the fuel canister, and make it. Oh no, I didn't struggle with the fuel. I've struggled with the clamps, clamping the hatch down.
The hatch down with the Malinches like crawling through and using the magnetic hatches to
and I found the hook and I couldn't get the hook out, so then that was like a whole kind of thing. But
I also did not put together that fucking dental floss plus fishing hook equals sewing someone's head together. That may be just me, but
no,
that's
a
very common point and click puzzle. To be honest.
Yeah,
I think that might be the. So when I saw the floss, I knew. That
You're like,
I know exactly what I'm doing with this.
But I think overall, I don't want to speak for others, but for myself personally, outside of, I mean, we're discussing puzzles in both sections because I mean, the Roth puzzle at the fucking end, like the final fight with Roth, was the one thing. The two I looked up were the clamp and the final fight with Roth, because I was just throwing that pistol around in like a fucking triangle formation for about 6 minutes, and I was like,
so long. I was just we're just juggling these 3 items. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just tossing them all up at this point.
But overall, I don't know. I don't know if I've got some sort of like rose tinted glasses situation going on, but compared to like what's this, 7, 8, and 9. So compared to like 5, 6, and 7, the puzzles in this section were so much easier compared to the previous section.
It's more that there aren't a lot of puzzles, right? Like this is more the build up to the
like the
kind
finale,
of like
kind
the
of
finale of the game, and so there's just so much momentum that you don't want to slow it down by like adding a bunch of puzzles into it at this point. So it's like, oh, it's going to be interspersed, but I think we did the bulk of the puzzles through the center of this game, getting to the end, and then it's like enjoy the ride essentially at this point, right? Like.
Is that kind of like how you feel, Chrissy? Do you think a lot of it was bulked up there, and this is really just kind of like driving the player to plot?
Yeah, so initially when I finished the game, I quickly recorded some notes of what I thought about it. That was 6 months ago. And then I actually said, oh, the puzzles at the end were really good and it didn't interfere with the urgency and they weren't too difficult. It was fine. And then now when I watched someone else's playthrough, I was like, there are so many puzzles in the end. I don't actually get it because I want a game the puzzle should be in the middle. The ending should be just plain sailing towards the end, maybe one or two.
There is a lot
quick
because
things.
it's like, how do you get the fish hook? And then how do you get the fin to get the fish hook out of the tent?
Yes.
And then like, how do you deal with Roth and the cartridge? And then afterwards, it's like, how do you deal with the Melingi? How do you bring Sophia back? How like there's lots of smaller puzzles that are kind of
maybe it's not so much that they're maybe it isn't that there isn't puzzles. It's that they're very logical puzzles compared to the center, which are very illogical puzzles.
There's no these blowing umbrellas off of AC units.
Exactly.
Blowing the umbrella off the AC unit is crazy.
None of that.
Yeah. Or even the melting the sticker off with the heat of the steam on the side of the barrel, like the label
with the cup with the thermos.
The most complex it gets, there's a lot of like finding items to help you get other items. The only one I'd say outside of the Roth situation, the only one that was like quite complex was like the makeshift flamethrower. But even then, that was kind of like fairly logical. I was like, okay, I've got a rag, I've got a jerry can, I've got something that can like be used as a contraption. Yeah. Like if I'm pointing and clicking, and at this point, I also think I was kind of used to the way the game plays. So when I didn't really know how to progress, I was like in trying to combine stuff in my inventory. And Mick would say like, "Oh, like if I had this, I could do that." And I'm like, "Oh, I do have that. I can do this.
I do have these things." Yeah. No, I was the same way. I think like the flamethrower one probably was one that I struggled with, but never like in a frustrating, like there was puzzles last episode that were like, I'm frustrated and how, well, I'm looking at the walkthrough and I was like, there is no way I would have figured this out. But it was just like moving things around with the flamethrower until it like clicked. And I was like, okay, these are the steps to do this.
The amount of use of the EM pulse coil is annoying to me. Like they could have come up with other puzzles than just using that thing like 4 times at the end. Cause it's like, you use it to unlock the hatch, not the hatch, like the little hatch with the magnetic locks. You use it in your battle against Roth, and you use it to unlock the big doors that are like. It's like, come on, we get it. It's magical, and then you use it with the defibrillator. Like you have to like match it with the defibrillator. It's like you could have just used the defibrillator. That could have been another thing that you used to unlock. Like, I don't know. It's a very convenient, like, oh, here's this make-believe thing that exists that just does what you need it to do in a pinch, right? Like, instead of it being an actual in-world solution.
Maxwell did tell us that it's a very useful device. Like, he did say before he was blown to pieces, he did say.
Yeah. You're right. He did mention it would be useful. That and the screwdriver.
I was saying not as useful as the screwdriver, but I mean, Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. The point and click games always put you in a position where at some point you need to just try everything on everything, and you need to speak to everyone one more time, and you need to click on everything in the environment one more time, and eventually something will shake loose. I don't like those segments, but maybe that's what they wanted you. And
that was the thing here. That was the thing with the clamps, is because like I said, we'll get onto it when we talk more, but like fucking, what's his actual name? I keep going to call him Boston Bebop. What is his actual?
Oh no, it's
Hara.
Hara.
I say Chrissy will not get that reference at all.
Hey, here's a reference of a thing we made up on an episode no one has heard yet,
and it's not yet published. I said he looked like the dude from Cowboy Bebop, but he sounds like he's from Boston. And then Jared called him Boston Bebop.
Boston Bebop, and that's what his name has been.
like with that, the way to solve, like he's holding this hatch down and the melange's trying to get up, and I had the clamp, and he was like, "Oh, it's really heavy," and I was like, "Cool, like let me put this really heavy fin on the hatch door." But actually, you had to speak to Klein, and like just going to speak to Klein was like, "Oh yeah, it's a magnet." And like
he was teaching you how to use the item essentially, but he was being worked on and everything. So
yeah, it was kind of like.
But then he says, "No, you need to stitch my head up before I can even like speak to you." So that like forces you in a different direction.
Yeah. So
I wrote down that you kind of just leave Hara there. I don't know.
For a long time.
You just go on a little adventure.
Just sitting on the hatch. She's having a good time.
But I felt like. I don't know if maybe like I reflected on it more. Maybe this happened throughout the game, but like at least in this section, there was a lot of like, I have this fin and I know what to do with it, but I've not done the right thing to prompt being able to use it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, that's true. No, I completely agree. Like there's a lot of times where I also embarrassingly found out that the scroll wheel can just go through all of them instead of opening the inventory to get items all the time. Yes, you just use the scroll to go througugh your items. Yeah, you can just use that all the time. Yeah,
on your mouse.
On your mouse.
Oh, well,
I've unlocked that.
A little late.
Yeah. Well, I learned that in these 2 episodes, so I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is great!" So you just scroll. I was scroll, click. Like I was moving every item, just like Chrissy was saying, where I was like just clicking everything and using every item on every interaction and just trying it all. So sorry, Ben, that you found that out in this episode.
It's good to know.
I actually played this game. I actually played this with a controller, and this is not made for that. I don't know why I did it.
I was going to say
I think
very
half the game I wasn't like combining things properly, and it was horrendous. So then, I should have just point and click.
It's also hilarious to be like, my whole brand is point and click.
I know.
And be like, I'm playing with the controller
because I wanted to like sit back and play.
I get
controller.
I get that for sure. But I could see like, especially having to use an analog stick to move around, like that is. Can you move Mick around? Is it still like point and click with Mick, or can you move Mick around with an analog stick? Are you still like clicking to move him?
You then use the stick to move Mick around.
Oh, interesting.
And
yeah,
how do you? And then there's this wheel thing around him.
Oh.
And then you jump between interaction points on the screen, so you don't have the mouse that you move with the other stick. They show you what the interaction points are. It's a very strange interface because Steam Deck actually, you can play a point and click on Steam Deck because they have these the trackpads that work they work like mouse pads. But this didn't have that overlay, so I was on the Steam Deck by using the controllers. It was so
weird. Yeah, because normally they give you the option of like, you have like a preset overlay, didn't you? You can pick and be like, I want to pick the one with the gamepads. I want to pick the one that's like an Xbox controller or whatever. It's really interesting because Kai had mentioned like episode 1 or 2, I think, like, give me like a button, like if I hold tab, it shows me the interactable points. And it's really funny that they programmed that into a controller layout, but
not the game itself.
Unless it's just something we didn't find.
I mean,
you know what? I didn't go into the settings.
Spacebar, a lot of the times it shows all the interaction points on lots of points.
Okay,
boys. I thought you were saying it does that here. I was like, really?
I'm not sure, but
I'm gonna see.
Or H.
Someone pull it up.
I need to know. Again, we've already finished this game, but no, I need to know how much we missed out on. Ben didn't know about the scroll wheel. There's actually a huge highlight feature maybe that none of us knew about. So.
Because they always put up the instructions in the beginning, and then I'm like, I'm a gamer. I don't need these. And then
I don't need to read these.
It would have been useful.
Dang, yeah, it's so funny. I got the Steam notification. Ben playing the Drifter, jumping on right now. Yeah, I mean that was one of our complaints before. Is just like for us not doing that. It's just usually hovering over everything to see what is interactable. But if there was a way of highlighting things, which, like you said, Chrissy, I feel like is a common gameplay mechanic in other games similar to this too, so it was interesting that it, as far as we know, wasn't there for us. Hotspot highlighter, the top one, is that?
Press H or middle mouse.
H
so there is an option if you highlight. Oh yeah, look at, there you go.
Hey.
Wow, all the interactables. Dang, would have been good to know.
Fucking know.
Would have been nice. Yeah.
In our defense, there was no there's no like tutorial in which showed you.
Yeah, you really just kind of jump in. I don't think there really is a tutorial at the beginning of this. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That's on you, Power Hoof. Figure it out.
Yeah. But now we know for the future, if we do ever play a point and click style game, let's have a look.
When the Drifter 2 ultimately comes out, we know for the sequels that we could play.
Drifter 2,
the modern ones.
Yeah, the drifting.
Should have it.
Yeah. I think those are kind of the main big puzzles for this, right?
Yeah.
It's like solving the Roth thing, just getting around the kind of the decaying and broken down space that you're in too. I think those are kind of just the main big puzzles for chapter 8.
Yeah. And I mean some of like
all of you talk at the exact same time.
The only other one to mention is that you fall into the like Roth.
Correct. Yeah.
Knocks you into the vat of evil goo, and then you have to know to knife your leg, which I guess is logical.
I feel like it reflects the first step, the first death we have.
Yeah, it's kind of it's just still a puzzle.
Sure.
I just want to call that out.
Okay.
But yes, much less puzzly in general.
I was gonna say, like, after this sequence where you figured out Roth, the whole you shouldn't shoot him, you should Mick should shoot himself. I kind of like that they reversed all the puzzles. You had to electrify the water again to get back into it, and where you have to jump over the hole,
like the bridge that breaks from the thing falling from the ceiling.
Yeah, and impale yourself, and I don't know. There's a few things that you had to fix before, and now you have to undo everything to go backwards.
It is interesting here too, where, again, why doesn't Roth use this? But right, we have this like whole mechanic of dying and then coming back right before to solve that puzzle. But here, Mick finding out that he can utilize that to his advantage, and dying gets him. If he dies in a specific spot, if it's a different spot, he kind of moves backwards from that spot too. So he kind of like rewinds time himself.
There's also a fun moment, like once you rewind enough and you go back to Klein and you tell him the password, because that's the whole thing, is they have to get into the reactor password, where you like walk back to the ladder and the thing falls, and Klein is like, watch out, and you're like, I know I've done this before. I know where the thing is.
Because he does it with Hara as well. He's like, throw me the gun and throw me your cartridge after I put out the fire. And Hara's just like, what fire? And he's like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Just use this. It's funny. I'm curious, Chrissy, I'll start with you. I'm curious, how did you feel about the Roth reveal, right? When he goes into his kind of big monstrous form, like how did you feel about that as a reveal?
I love that, because you were kind of waiting for the mask to drop, right? We all knew he was a villain, and he sort of now knows we've caught him out because we confronted him about Sophia. So you're just waiting for this moment to happen, and then eventually when he just kind of goes, fuck it, powers up, does the whole 3 eyes and super buff. Yeah, I enjoyed the big reveal, but I don't know if he was then if it was too much. Like, did he need to be that powerful? Like, what was the point
of him turning into this like evil form?
Are we getting into story yet? I have lots of opinions.
Okay, Kai, let's get some opinions on the story stuff. I want to hear it. Kai, go for it.
Okay. Well, first of all, the entire idea that you could have just gone back in time by killing yourself kind of ruins the whole conceit of the game. Secondly, why did they make him Super Saiyan? I don't understand. I don't understand where that comes from, or the point.
I think it's supposed to be like, at least the way I saw it was kind of like, he's lived through so many lifetimes and he's gained so much knowledge through doing this that he is like almost become omnipotent because of how much knowledge he's gained over like the way things are gonna go. But then that also in itself doesn't make sense, because then how did we kind of like
and then the other thing is like, okay, so in all of the infinite timelines that Roth is trying to figure out how to save Sweet Pea, because like that's the other aspect of this, is that
his wife was boning another man.
Yeah, yes. Sophia.
Well, the opposite, I think.
Well,
Sophia
she was with the other guy, right?
Yeah, she fell in love with the other guy. They got married, and Roth was jealous. And the whole thing is that he wanted to go back in time and prevent that from ever happening. It wasn't so much the accident, which we learned he caused. So there's that aspect of it. The other problem is that we just bring Sophia back to life. Like we just defibrillate her twice and she's just fine. But like the whole thing is that she's been in some suspended animation like aspect for like.
Why didn't he just try to help her?
I have no idea. I don't understand.
Well, the thing is, I think, I guess going off the back of that, like if he just brought her back, she wouldn't have like kind of gone along with him. He needed to go back to a point before.
Yeah. But she was not relevant for him going back in time. He didn't have to keep her a prisoner. She could just go live her life forever.
But he loved her, right? So like,
did he?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, no, I'm assuming that the way he sees it is like he can't accept the idea that she'd go, right? And like he has to until he finds a way to go back, he has to spend those years without her. So like her being there is like some comfort to him, I guess. Okay. I'm clutching at straws, don't get me wrong, but like
no, but he uses her in the quantum coupler. He uses her brain juices to go.
So she's another person who can like
yeah, even though she's unconscious, he keeps using her in that way. Okay. That's why he keeps her around.
So then the other thing is he says something which is you can join the others when we get dumped into the tank. But the tank is filled with Melange, whatever they are, which is the evil things that we've learned Roth created.
Yeah, they're real.
We are not hallucinating.
Through the, was it genetic accelerator? So this is what
So those are the homeless people?
Well, so this is what I was going to get at. I think the Melange are the homeless people. And he did some sort of genetic acceleration to them to turn them into these creatures, and that's what the eyes are, is the coupler thing that goes on the head, right? Now Chrissy wouldn't be aware of it because we started talking about this in the episode we just recorded beforehand. And was like, let's hold it off. But I think at first when we started playing, we at least, I know I think Kai came up with the idea, and I think I kind of thought it as well, was the idea that like the dude in the car on the first episode, the first chapter, was some sort of version of Mick from the future who was saying, I don't want
that was our theory,
I think actually he was a guy who escaped the lab because he was on the same train as Mick, right? Because the whole point is Mick knows where the lab is because that train went past the lab and came into the town that Mick went into. So I'm guessing, and that's why he was killed, because he'd escaped the lab. He knew too much. He knew what Roth was doing. So he was kind of killed, which is why they weren't actually hunting Mick. They were hunting that guy. But again, it's all a little bit confusing because that's never actually kind of addressed or explained. And I guess that's what the them would be, is like he was thrown down there because he wouldn't cooperate with Roth, but somehow he escaped, jumped the train, and then they found out and they murdered him in the beginning, which kind of kicked off everything.
Yeah, but like you're saying, this is a big assumption. Like that's not ever directly.
Okay. Guys. If he was someone from the program who had the ability to phase flip, killing him wouldn't do anything.
I mean, they could have been hunting him to trigger the phase flipping, right? That's why they hunted.
He did
Mick.
talk
they
about
to scare him into doing this.
But the guy in the beginning, the guy in the train says, "You're gonna get us killed again."
Yeah, because so he's been.
So he's already been phase flipping, and they're coming after him to kill him so that he can phase flip and survive in whatever timeline comes next. Like I just don't understand the logic.
It doesn't make sense. No.
You would want to capture him and convert him into a Melange. That seems to be the only way that Roth could then theoretically control the outcomes of these people. He seems to have full control over what the Melange do, right? Like essentially. So like, but killing him doesn't make any sense because then you just send him back.
Well, especially because he just, like, for the outside looking in, he just seems like a crazy homeless guy too. He's talking about all these like aliens, and he's talking about them killing us again. So like, no one would take him seriously at that point.
I guess the problem with this as well is like we're assuming, like, I don't know, he might have had that program put on him where it gets rid of the phase flipping, because like that the coupler, whatever it's called, can remove the ability to phase flip as well, and that's the problem. We're working on these assumptions, so like maybe he had the ability to phase flip removed and then was dumped in the tank by Roth, because that's what dumps you in there. And
Do you know why we have to make these assumptions?
Because
there's no fucking information. That's why. Because they didn't tell us anything.
Don't ask questions. That's what the whole game's about. You don't ask questions. You just go with it.
That's not how stories work.
It's how the story works.
So in terms of like the story, right? So we go down and we approach Klein. And we say to Klein, like, hey, like, the reactor's fucked. And he's like, yeah, you need Roth's passcode. I can't lift it because Roth has locked me out. So then this is what we were saying, like we mentioned about, like, you have to put the water out because the lift doesn't work anymore. So we're taking these ladders up and down. We use the screwdriver to open the panel. We then get interaction with Hara. And then we end up at the quantum coupler. And this is when we said about, Roth's there, and Roth is like, basically Roth's saying that this is what we wanted. We wanted to do this situation, and we were going to have this like massive phase flip with Roth, so that I think he said he wants to go back so that Mick doesn't have Alec. Like Alec isn't born.
Yeah, like essentially he wants to prevent. He wants to go far enough back to prevent
him
having the birth of his child.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to go through the stress of,
because he has a degenerative illness of some kind. They say a name. I'm sure it's a real thing.
Which I'm assuming is why your name for the episode is Bootstrap Baddie, Kai, because this whole idea of like, this has now happened, so now he has to go back in the past to prevent it from happening.
Well, it's the way that time travel would work, in that if you were able to time travel successfully to prevent the thing, you would have prevented it, and you would be existing in a timeline in which you still have a dead son. Negates the fact that you could ever save your son, because there's no way to. If you could do it, if you had the ability, it would have already been changed.
What do they call it? The grandfather paradox.
Exactly.
That, like, the paradox of, like, if you went back in time to kill your grandfather so that you were never born, you wouldn't exist to be able to go back in time in order to
kill
do that.
your grandfather, which means your grandfather would still exist because you would never exist, and that it's an impossibility of the of time, which is why we always say this every time we play one of these games. Don't fucking do time travel. It's
hard. It's hard
so
every
many
time.
fun tropes, so many fun things you can do. And they're just like, there's so many games where they're like, yeah, I can do it. I can handle time as a concept. And they never does it work ever one time. So
I looked it up. It's Batten disease. Batten disease is the disease that your son has, which is a neurodegenerative disorder.
Real thing.
It is a real thing.
It's called like a breakdown of his heart tissue or something. Like it's quite a bad illness.
So all of that. So like the justification is that we were working with Roth to go back in time, and we agreed to this partnership, essentially, right? Like that's how
that's
Roth
what he's presenting
puts it.
Yeah.
And then Roth's kind of whole explanation is like, we've done this a million times. Like I know, like that, which is why he could dodge the bullets, essentially, because he's
like, you're gonna help me no matter what.
You're gonna inevitably help me. Essentially, right?
Yes, when he snaps your neck.
Why doesn't he just find someone else? There's got to be another sad fucking person other than Mick. Like, I just don't, like, why does it have, it's never explained why it has to be Mick. Like, there's no, even something as simple as, like, Mick's neural density is 80 times greater than any other human beings. He's the only one that can allow Roth to jump back. Like, there's just no reason it has to be him. Like, Roth just keeps trying this formula over and over and over and over again, and it's never working. And he doesn't one time think like, oh, maybe it's because this fucking guy is not the guy that I need. Like, I just don't.
That's the definition.
It gives you no reason to believe we're special, and I don't understand.
I think they very vaguely say Mick has a natural ability that they unlock, but they don't elaborate.
But isn't
like,
it
you
like,
don't know what that?
Yeah, isn't it like only certain people can phase flip, right? Like it's not like anyone can have the phase flip taken off of them, but only certain people are born with an ability to phase flip. I'm pretty sure that's what they said. last in that, like,
I remember because
and it just happens to be that the two people who discovered face flipping both have that ability.
Well, not only that, but Hara can phase flip too. Like he's able to go with us and phase flip. Was that because of the coupler though? Was that because of the machine, or is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was the machine that brought you
with Hara back.
With Mick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That dragged him along. He wasn't. It's not activated.
Can there be?
No plot holes. It's great.
But this is so. Roth breaks your neck, and this took me a little minute to figure out that, like, you have to look at the screen when he's typing in the password.
Yes,
and this is when we get the big revelation about Sophia, because I can't remember what the Latin is for it, but his password is the Latin for desert pea, which is a type of flower, which was Sophia's favorite flower.
Yes.
And this is when you get the realization that Sophia was actually in love with Maxwell, and Roth didn't like that. And seemingly the implication is that Roth deliberately put her in the state that she's in the secret room.
Yeah, it was kind of implied that he's the one that put her there, which is kind of crazy. Which I guess would be, if she would wake up, if he just like saved her and helped her now, she would still know that like he was to blame for this, so he wouldn't be able to like get her back or fall in love with her, which was the reason for the going back.
Why put her in a coma in the first place?
He was angry. He was mad. He's an emotional boy.
Yeah, it doesn't. I guess if she's alive, like if he kept her alive, chained up somewhere, she would be aware of that whole period of time. So if it took 6 years to find someone who could phase flip, she would remember that whole 6 years because she won't forget it. So I guess by being in a coma, she'd have no concept of time, of like how long she was his prisoner. Again, assumption. I don't really know. And then, so how do we end up going back the first time? Because we're paralyzed. We can't move anything from the neck down. We see the passcode. And then, that's it. You basically say that you goad him into shooting you. You talk about how Sophia only loved Maxwell.
Yeah, you aggro him.
Which doesn't make any sense, by the way, because the whole point is that Roth needs you. So, like, why you could get him, like, he could just close your mouth. If he can break your spine perfectly in a way to make you paralyzed from the neck down, you're telling me he can't do some fucking jujitsu to make you not talk?
He himself could also just phase flip back to a point before he killed us, I guess. So it's like, what is death to him? Because he can just phase flip to before he kills us. So, and he says something about that. Like we say, like, oh, you're going to kill all of these people. And he's like, well, they never actually died because when I go back, they won't have died.
Which is the only part of this game's logic system I agree with. It's true. If you truly understand phase flipping, like as a concept of, I can go back in time along a timeline in which if I die, go back a certain amount of time. He's right. Like, sure, these people are being tortured now, but they'll have no recollection of that. Will never have happened. The timeline will change and shift because his decisions changed and shift. So it's like, he is correct. Like, his logic system of like, I'm going to go back and fix all this stuff. None of this will have ever happened. No one will ever know of this. Like, sure, he's an evil guy, but he is right. Like,
there's no like morality.
Like, none of this happens.
There's no larger morality. It's only like his own morality of like killing these people, I guess.
What are your thoughts on this, Chrissy, and Roth and all of his decisions that he's making here?
I don't know if I thought about it so deeply.
Honestly,
I just took it as face value.
Welcome to Play Along.
We got another Jared on the podcast.
No, see, I'm the same way. I only play through a game that I get in here and Kai like pokes holes in my fun, and I'm like, I just had a good time, man.
Like, of course, I kept asking myself, what happens to the other people while you're face flipping? Are we just creating a multiverse? Like, it seems like you're just this puppet master, and you can just.
I think that the implication is some sort of like string chaos theory or something, where it's just like you create a branching timeline where that never happened.
Yeah, I think essentially the logic system is that the amount of like emotional energy that is created through the action of death, right? Like whatever a soul is, the action of that thing dying in certain people has enough energy to affect the physiognomy of time in some way, right? Like that, the release of that energy, the action of death, then causes a ripple in time and physics, and then you go back to a certain point in time. It's essentially a restart. So once again, don't hold me to the actual science of this, but that is my understanding. Essentially, is that that release. That's why you go into that like weird white liminal space, and then you end up back a certain amount of time. How you control that, how you go back further, I mean, never really explained. Who's to say?
Chrissy, I'm right there with you. Usually I'm just like, if the game is presenting me information, I'm just like, this is the information, this is the lot. Like, I'm not gonna question it most of the time.
But it's fine. And I mean, I think it's Annie or Angela that are saying, "Oh, it'll be so nice if everyone can phase flip." And I'm thinking, what will be the timeline?
That
Where
would be
then in
chaos.
some
No.
timeline, what is it, Loki?
What's
the Marvel timeline?
Yeah, the multiverse.
Yeah.
The multiverse of madness. Like just everyone fucking. Well, and that's one of two things are true. There's either a singular timeline that is altered by everyone face flipping on it. So like as people are going back, all of the elements of that timeline are changing as people adjust it. Or there is an infinite number of timelines, which is technically, I believe, the current
I think that's the
theory in physics, which is essentially that like there is millions of parallel or quintillions of parallel universes that exist compressed into each other, and you're just jumping from line to line into like, oh, I'm going to jump into another timeline that's slightly back from where I was previously, which that means then it doesn't really matter. You can have a bunch of people affecting a bunch of different timelines, but you're just existing across an infinite number of possibilities that exist. So but it gets complicated.
I do want to go over the end of chapter 8 here, because we ultimately do take away Roth's ability to phase flip. Like we do the little coupler to remove both ours and Roth's ability to phase flip, which Chrissy talked about how this creates a lot of anxiety. This game does a good job of that. After you do get dumped into the Melingi, like that was actually like terrifying. Like not knowing now that if Mick dies, he cannot just come back afterward was an actual like terrifying moment in this game.
Yeah, I tried to kind of like suspend be like, oh yeah, like I'll be able to respawn, it'll be fine, whatever. Like I thought like as Mick, all of a sudden he's gone from like having no fear of death whatsoever to he's now lost the ability to phase flip, and he is like struck like underwater, and then he's like trying to fend off these Melengi and all of this stuff. Like I was like, oh, this is actually like a little bit concerned, because you don't, I guess as a player you'd gain a little bit of knowledge, I guess, but like it's not that kind of, you're not invincible anymore, are you?
I don't know, man. I was convinced if I died here, I would just like get credits. I'm like, oh,
that'd be wild.
Here. The game's over because I can't respawn now anymore because my game is I can't do this power anymore. So
I was worried it is a multiple ending game, and like what I do from this point puts me on a different timeline. I was also worried when Hara was holding the hatch closed and I was doing all the point and click stuff. I was also worried that maybe he can die, and maybe there's an ending where I come out in the desert and he's not there or something. I didn't know that this was just linear until the end.
Oh, Kai has something to say. I see his face.
So I don't know. So like, did any of you do the optional scene where you agree to Roth at the beginning?
From the get-go, no. I pulled the gun out straight away. There is an option.
No, I
just went. If you whether you get it or not, if you just agree with him, if you just do what he says, you go back in time to when you're with your son and you're in the hospital room, and there's a scene where you're with your son in the hospital room. The problem, though, with that is that you go back in time to the time that you're with your son in the hospital room, but he retains all of his memories.
He still is aware of everything that has happened.
Which doesn't make sense because Roth has done this thousands of times. Roth says, like, we've been here, like, we've done this. Yeah. Like, this, we're going to keep doing this until it works out. I've decided, which means you only retain your memories when you're aware that you're phase flipping. Like, he would have remembered previously. He's like, oh, I've been here hundreds of times before. And then he has to live his entire life. So we're talking about a period of 18 years from the time that his son dies to when we're back with Roth again. And he does no planning. He's just like, we're back here, baby. time to do it again. And it's just like, You couldn't have come up with any plan. You didn't do any time to think like, oh, maybe how could I approach this differently? Because then you're there and you're like, well, I can't have him know that I know what's going on. It's like,
wait, so Mick,
how did we even get back to this point?
So Mick goes back in time to the moment he leaves the hospital, and then
in the hospital with his son and with Sarah. Yeah.
And then you basically,
but he has all of the knowledge of what had happened.
But I guess, and again, this is hypotheticals. If he did something differently,
it's gonna be the title of this episode.
If he did something differently, it would have a different outcome, right? And it would change the timeline. So then he wouldn't know, but he wouldn't know how that variable worked, if it was a good outcome or a bad outcome.
But it wouldn't matter anyway, because he already failed.
Oh,
He already couldn't go back far enough for his son. And not only that, also if you think of, like, you know, not to quote the Ashton Kutcher movie, the butterfly effect theory, which is that a very small insignificant change can lead to massive implications down the road. Even if Mick did one thing different, which he's going to do, because knowing the outcome is obviously going to change your behavior even in imperceivable ways, right? Like, even his behavior in that hospital room is fundamentally different than it was the first time, where he's having these realizations and this freak out of like, I've been here before, it didn't work, Roth failed, etc. Like, that changes the entire outcome of the timeline, but he ends up in the exact same place, which is like illogical, because the behavior is different to end up in that place. He would end up in a different existence, he knowing all of that information. It doesn't make sense. It's not how any of this would work.
Something tells
me very frustrating.
Something tells me the developers didn't think about all these as deeply as you're thinking about this game. Yeah.
They were too busy designing puzzles to
dumbass.
Like, where is the screwdriver now? Where can we use the screwdriver again? Yeah.
Okay. I will suspend my disbelief until the end of this, because I understand that people hearing me scream about the incoherence of the fucking game is not helpful or fun. So I will no longer mention my thoughts and feelings around the impossibility of the plot, and we will just continue going through the end of the game.
Okay. Well, I would like to move. I want to move on to chapter 9 here, the last chapter of the game. And again, we'll start with kind of going over any puzzles and stuff. This is kind of at the end, so there isn't a ton. But Chrissy, do you have any standout kind of puzzles or anything that stood out to you this last chapter?
Oh, what exactly happens
in the
last one? The whole bit with Sanjay, that was we could have just left that out, and they would have been in exactly the same state. So he just went with us downstairs.
Just to
died
die.
there, and we came back with a drop of petrol. That's what that whole sequence did for us. So that was very sad and unfortunate.
He followed us down there because he knew where the can was, or why did he follow us?
He fixed the door. I'm not sure what he did, and I don't know.
He overrode the elevator.
The elevator
and he also had the key card for a bunch of rooms, so he was like, "Oh, we'll go with you," essentially. And he knows where the generator is, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him dying was sad. I mean, it did. Like you said, it didn't have to happen. It was sad that Sanjay died, because he was just a dude, and he was so like happy-go-lucky, free spirit too. And to have him be the one they killed off, I was like,
I'm gonna be honest. I never liked him, and I didn't care he died.
That's crazy. Heartless man.
He was a nothing character. He sat at a computer for like 5 lines of dialogue.
Yeah, but he was happy.
Died. Would you have felt sad? Okay. Once again, you're like a baby playing peekaboo. Would you have felt as sad if Klein needlessly died at some point?
Well, Klein
could have died.
Klein was mean to us. Klein was mean to us, though.
He can die. Happy man die sad.
Exactly.
Bad feeling make me sad. Well, how is that?
Exactly. I think you've answered your own question here in doing this.
Your morality is solely based on whether someone has good vibes or not.
Yeah, my morality is vibes based. So, but this is the section where we talked about it in the beginning of the episode. It's the dental floss, it's the fish hook. It's trying to figure out how to use the clamps, and Klein is the only one that knows, but he's getting his head worked on because something landed on him, and it was the magnets itself, right? The magnets is what fell on him. Yeah.
Which I thought was a dive belt. Because I thought it was like a dive belt that you used to go down and like harvest the melingi. No, it It's just some metal clamp fucking thing that was convenient for keeping a hatch closed. I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't even think. I'm looking online to see if there's like plot hole discussions, and actually one of the developer team actually came in and answered some questions on the Steam page. But also, just to throw another spanner, Sophia would have crazy muscle atrophy, like from laying in the bed for years. She would like
1,000%. Yes.
So anyway, so this person on Steam community page basically asked very, very similar questions to like we did. So they were asked like, what was the point of the neural interface in Roth's room? Seems to imply the game all going to have. The game implies that all rooms would have them, and they're going to be used to harvest people's brain power. But like, basically, they're asking what's the point? Like, people would go into their bathroom and then attach this hose. Like, it was a very strange setup. They say if Roth's purpose was to go back in time further, why doesn't he just repeatedly die the same way that Mick does? This is the big one. What's special about Mick? What's the difference between him and Rand and Homer?
Kai, did you write this? Did you write this on Steam?
I did. Yeah, you know.
Are you Sir Rat the Spare?
I am, and I have lots of questions.
And then the fourth question is, why does Roth give the kidnapped people and Mick the power to phase flip?
Agreed. These are all wonderful questions.
So Dave of Powerhoof said that in terms of the masks in rooms, he said it's hinted at there's room for more people in the lab. So at one point, Hara and Mick's theory about Roth's plan would have been correct, but they don't necessarily have the whole picture. Roth tried a lot of things to get back further, and this was just one of them. So it doesn't even seem...
He's tried a lot of things, but they all involve this guy.
Oh, this has actually angered me.
Maybe we shouldn't read this one.
In answer to the second question, so the second question was, why doesn't he just die repeatedly? This is verbatim, okay? Dave of Powerhoof said, I didn't end up mentioning it in the game, but there's a sleep barrier.
Nice.
There's a sleep barrier that's hard to phase flip past. Basically, Roth can jump back further than Mick, but not long enough to be able to jump back a full night's sleep unassisted. You'd flip back into your sleeping body and have to wait until you wake back up again, getting nowhere. So assuming he slept in the past X amount of years, it would be a hard wall. He can jump back further than Mick, but only far enough with the machines which need to be built, etc. So basically, he's saying that at some point...
What is the difference between sleep and death?
Sleep is what's it? Fucking Nas says?
Sleep is the cousin of death. Is the bar. But fundamentally, from like A, what is the barrier of sleep? That doesn't make any sense. But B, sleeping and dying are essentially, you're both unconscious. Now, do you get knocked out? Is that sleeping? What does that mean? What is this? Also, I didn't include this in the game. What a Duffer Bros ass motherfucking answer, by the way. Fucking Stranger Things being like, oh, does it make sense that this happened? And two of the dumbest guys of all time sitting and being like, I didn't think about that in writing.
You know what's funny too?
$1 billion television show.
As Ben was explaining this, I'm just like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like, I'm just like
very. I'm also like, cool, sleep barrier. There we go.
Works for me. In answer to 3 and 4. So 3 was what's so special about Mick, and 4 was why does he give these people the power to phase flip? He said this goes back to Roth trying new things over and over. Strengthening the ability naturally in Mick was his attempt, as after other tests had failed, the masks, the fins in the tank. He may have been picked just because of circumstance and Annie's relationship, etc. And yes, because he can jump back, Roth's very good at convincing people of fins. If one approach doesn't work, he'd try another.
Well, I guess with Mick specifically too, convincing him to do this would be giving him the ability, like, look, if you help me, I can give you the ability to go back and fix your problems. And I guess that was like for other people too, especially people that are, we're looking at the homeless community specifically, people that are down their luck, giving them a second chance that they can control, I think is convincing enough for a lot of these people.
Anyway.
Kai is not one of those people I think is convinced.
No. Where were we in the story? We were doing the belt hits.
Yeah.
Klein sew up his face. There's blood in his eyes.
Yeah, this is when the Melange are now crawling their way through the halls and stuff.
Which once again we assume are homeless people. I think is what we're supposed to get out
from what the developer hinted. they are the remnants of some failed attempt to go back further from Roth. So Roth was trying to, I guess the implication is he was trying to use this genetic accelerator to give people the genetic ability to jump back further so he could harness that.
But he created
the Melingi.
Cockroach people.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things I did have to look up, which was really annoying. I know we're bouncing back to the puzzles.
No, it's fine.
The dental floss and hook, I was like, dope, I did it. And then Klein is like, oh, you can't put that in me. That's so unsanitary. To figure out that I had to steam the hook on the coffee machine.
My first thing was like, oh, I'll go to the bathroom, the bathroom in Roth's office, and I was like, oh, I'll go there and I'll clean it off and everything like that. That was not the
or classic desterilisation and movie technique, alcohol. I was like, oh, we need some alcohol. Where can I get some alcohol? Then I went to the little thing that's supposed to scan your body because we're an alcoholic and be like, damn, you need some whiskey. No, that was not the answer.
I
steam it with the coffee wand.
I can't help with this because I sort of stumbled on it unintentionally. I went to, before everything with Klein and before I got the hook, I was in the canteen trying to find something to cut the hook out of the tent, and I was like, oh, I know there's sharp knives in the canteen, so I went searching for a sharp knife in the canteen.
You just stumbled upon
clicked on the coffee machine because that was the only interactable thing. And he was like, oh, it steams out hot steamy air, and I was like, oh, okay, right, that's
out of all of these in the last two chapters, I think this one at least feels the most obtuse. I don't know, Chrissy, how did you have to look this one up? Did you figure it out? Is it just, again, click on everything until something works?
It was a similar thing where I had sort of clicked on everything in that room, and I knew something had to do something because there wasn't that many spaces left to look. And I think maybe earlier I remembered he said something like, oh, there's steam coming out of the coffee machine or something. So yeah, maybe from previous games or something, this one didn't seem too far-fetched.
I will admit, if I had known about the H button and had seen other interactables in that room, I probably would have gone to the coffee machine. So that's on me for not reading the controller layout, keyboard layout.
And it's funny too. I usually, like, when we start a game, I usually immediately go settings to see if there's anything that I can change, and I didn't do it this time for some reason. So that it's the first option.
You know what it is? It's our broken ass gamer mind, because I also went to settings and saw that there was no graphic options, and I
do the same.
I can't make it look better, and then immediately left settings.
That's so funny. I do this. I do this
1000% what we both did.
I did the same thing. I go and, like, what's my graphic setting? Like, what can I make this look beautiful?
Like, there's
and
no
like,
frame rate.
What do you mean? It's pixel art. What do you want to do?
Look, I'm looking for a photorealistic Mick. I want to see these melange. I want
photorealistic
I'm not
pixel art.
saying it was right. I'm just saying it's what we did.
It's very
because I'm so
gamer-coded.
used to pixel hunting, right?
Yeah.
If it's a pixel art game, I will sit there and look through the whole screen with my mouse, and that's how I think ended up at the coffee machine. But if you're not used to doing that, you don't know to do that.
And I think this is kind of what I was saying is, like, I feel like there is a mindset to point and click games, especially like point and click puzzle games. Like, you kind of, because I was watching like a video walkthrough to try and find out what to do, and I think Jared sent it in as well. It was like a 7-hour long play or something. And the guy was like, "Oh, I guess I'm going pixel hunting." And I was like, "What the fuck is pixel hunting?" And he just knew, like, "Oh yeah, I need to like go across everything and seem like."
That doesn't seem like a fun thing to do. But okay.
You just said that, but I didn't realize that's like, it was like a known term. It's like a known thing that people are doing. Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think like you kind of like, much in the way that like you have to get used to like playing like certain like farming sims and stuff a certain way. Like you kind of have a mentality around point and click games.
Yeah. We had reference before of putting together the flamethrower, which works as a weapon that we're using. But I don't know about all three of you, but burning the Melingi for the first time, being able to actually like be on the offensive was so satisfying to do.
That was cool.
Okay.
Go on, Kai.
Yeah.
Let me hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Here, let me do a compliment sandwich.
Okay.
Yes, it was enjoyable. Sure. Those are people, right?
Yeah,
that we're
they're
killing
aliens now.
they're not aliens.
Well, they're
They're
creatures.
genetically modified people. They're essentially like a soybean of a person. We've altered them in some way to be.
I feel like this is
better.
like similar to saying like you can't kill a clicker in The Last of Us though, because like
because they're people.
Person. Like it's not like. Also, it's kill or be killed, dog. Like it's kind
That's
of like
true.
Yeah.
What is their motivation? I guess is
They're
also
just being controlled by Roth. I don't know if they have much motivation.
But are they being controlled by Roth, or are they just like killers?
Fuck.
You're asking a lot of questions.
Do we know?
You're asking too many questions.
Do you want me to see what Dave of Powerhoof is saying?
I would love. I would love on the phone. I would love to know Dave's thoughts.
Can we go Dave
on the Melingi in general? Okay, but yes, I will agree. Burning the Melingi, very satisfying.
Not only that, but again, this game already, I love the pixel graphics of this game. The fire animation with the pixel art is just very super
well
cool looking. Again, it just makes the whole like situation feel super badass. That finally you get to kind of put the offense to a lot of these creatures.
And
but sorry, in that scene, I was also a bit concerned because you are using your petrol here. So I thought maybe this puzzle has two solutions. And I was looking around and not firing the blowtorch all the time because I was thinking like, okay, maybe there's a different solution where I come out with more petrol, but no, you just have to flame.
Well, if there's one thing I learned in this game is that I think they describe it as a drop of petrol. Makes a lot of flamethrowers.
It really goes, goes a long way.
Not only is there Melingi flamethrower ring, there's nanobots, whatever those
little
wasps,
the bugs.
Oh, I hated those things. I hated.
And you do that a lot.
Yeah,
it's not like one or two clicks. It's constantly clicking until someone opens that hatch. So you know, whatever fuel we're using, very efficient.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing as well, because like Mick even makes a comment. He's like, I don't want to burn all my fuel. So I was like, well, then I need to stop trying to set fire to Melingi. Like, I need to, like, I'm not going to survive down here. And actually, in fact, the answer is to just keep burning them.
Just keep using it over and over again.
I felt very intelligent when I knew that I needed to walk up the stairs and shoot the magnet locks with the EMP fins. I was like, I know this one. I know how I'm solving this. I've done this.
Yeah. Which I think, again, going back to like the idea of the puzzles, like this last section had a lot of like puzzles that I think were easy enough to solve, but seemed hard. And when I solved them, I was like, oh yeah, I feel smart for like solving these puzzles. It's the same thing you were saying.
They were actual puzzles, but they were puzzles in the sense that like we'd been primed to kind of know what the solution was already. Like we've used the EMP to like break the lock on the hatch already. And so we've identified that the stuff on the blast doors is these because they can hold up to a ton or something of like weight. So you kind of like when you're primed enough to be able to guess the solution, it's not too bad. When you're expected to walk off screen with a leaf blower to another section and blow an umbrella off the top of an AC unit, when you've not done that before, it's a little strange, and you're kind of like, this doesn't really make sense.
Ooh, at the end we can play most obtuse puzzle and we can see which one has
leaf blower. That is like 100%.
I mean, the closest thing to a meme in this game is that you have to leaf blow the fucking umbrella.
Yeah,
it's just it's like no one would ever do this. Yeah. This is not
the leaf.
There are easier ways to solve that problem than a leaf blower.
Yeah. So I want to go. We had mentioned this final puzzle or boss, which we fight.
This
Roth
is the most obtuse in the entire game.
Ben, I want you to give us some kind of set dressing leading up to that, and I'm curious of everyone's thoughts on the.
Okay, so the set dressing is essentially we have gathered everybody, bar Sanjay. We have Sophia. We introduce her to the group.
Sanjay.
We climb up onto the platform and start making our way up to the top. The blast doors are now open. The reactor is beginning to explode beneath us. And Roth like just kind of like floats up on this cloud of like those black wasp creatures that we had in the police office. And everyone's off to the side. So you've got like Annie and Sophia off to one side. What's her name? Angela and Klein off to the other side. And Mick and Hara are like kind of behind a box and a car in the middle of the platform, and fucking dude Roth is just like floating around. And as Mick, we have the flamethrower, and Hara has his pistol. So basically, what happens is like you can either shout to Roth and just trying to goad him, or you can talk to Hara, who then like stands up and begins trying to shoot at Roth, and Roth picks him up and basically like has him up in the air floating with him. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I need to shoot Roth and get him to let Hara go. So you shoot the flamethrower, he drops Hara, and then drops Hara's pistol into the middle of them. And now what basically ensues is a puzzle in which you're trying to work out between the EMP coil, the flamethrower, and the pistol, what is it that Roth is supposed to hold in order for you to defeat him. I tried this a lot. I gave Hara the EMP fin. He shot Roth and just got zapped and nothing happened. Every time you shoot him with the pistol or the flamethrower, I don't know how he knows this is going to happen, though. This is what I don't understand. Like, is he dodging the bullet because he knows he's going to get shot, which doesn't make any sense, because then, in theory, if that happened, he would know at some point that he's going to be given the EMP fin and he shouldn't use it because it will electrocute him. I guess he doesn't know this because he can't phase flip at this point. I don't understand. But either
I'm
way,
tell you what I've been told, Ben. Don't think about it.
Yes.
Hey, he's learning. He's learning. You've learned everything.
There's no answer that's going to be satisfying.
Either way, he has the ability to dodge bullets and dodge fire. And so you kind of in this puzzle where you're giving Hara an item, Mick has an item. You want Roth to pick Hara up. Because he takes whatever the item is off of Hara.
Yeah, kind of swap it there.
Now, in the walkthrough, I didn't notice this. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the walkthrough I'm using on Into Indie Games says that when you give him the EMP coil, the wasps behave in a strange way, but nothing happens to Roth himself. Apparently, that's the hint that the wasps like move away from Roth or something when he's holding the EMP coil. I don't know. But you're supposed to give the EMP coil to Hara, have Hara shoot Roth, who picks him up, takes the EMP coil, and then you're supposed to goad him and be like, yeah, fucking do it, shoot him. And then he like shoots Hara, but gets electrocuted because that's the way the EMP coil works.
Yeah.
And then he falls down to the floor. Oversimplifying that, because I was on this for like 8 minutes before I fucking looked at the walkthrough.
I would say, Chrissy, I'll pass it to you first. How did you get on about this whole juggling of all three of these weapons and this puzzle at the end? And
I don't remember, so then I must have not struggled with it long. I must have reached for a walkthrough because I just wanted this story to flow towards the end at that point. Because I was initially, when they set up the scene, it looks like you're gonna play some mini game. It looks like you're gonna play some shooting the gun upwards and trying to hit Roth until he's dead. But then I was thankful that wasn't happening. But then this was almost worse. It was like I didn't know, because you have to. I think the thing you have to remember is the EMP, whatever that thing is. EMP coil. It shocks you every time, so you have to think, okay, that's the only thing you have that backfires.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I remember that in the moment.
The reason I got so stuck, and this might just be, I think this is maybe a player problem. I don't want to give the game the benefit of the doubt, but like the section just before this as well also had us like flaming the wasps until Annie opened the hatch so that we could get upstairs. So I was like, oh, I need to flame the wasps that are keeping Roth in the air, because that's how I just survived before we went onto this platform.
I think I was... I'll go for it.
No, I was going to say also the other side of stuff is kind of like you were saying about the pixel hunting and clicking everything. I didn't know until the game, like the walkthrough prompted me, that you could speak to Hara while this was all happening. I knew that you could kind of like tell speak to Roth. I knew that you could speak to Hara and have him try and shoot Roth, but I didn't know you could actually communicate with Roth himself.
I think I was in the same boat as Chrissy, where I kind of tried this once or a couple times or so, and because this is like climactic moment. I kind of wanted just more story to happen. And there's a lot of, again, going back to the game, creating doing a good job of creating anxiety, where when this first happens, it's like, oh my gosh, this is stressful. We're trying to get up to the top. The generator is below, is going to erupt. But then the longer I spent trying to solve the puzzle, the more that went away. And then ended up just being like, I just want to solve this puzzle. And I just went to the walkthrough. I'm like, I just want to look this up because I want to see how this story progresses. And all the stress is gone at this moment. Well, there's more stress, but it's different kinds of stress. It's not like in the game, but I'm just trying to figure out how these puzzles work themselves. But Kai, how did you feel about this last puzzle?
I looked it up.
Okay.
I did not want to puzzle. I did not want to puzzle.
I did not want to puzzle anymore.
I do not enjoy that they put a puzzle at the end. It didn't need a boss battle. We had already theoretically defeated Roth. I don't understand how he still has Super Saiyan powers after he lost his ability to phase flip. Doesn't really make sense to me all that much. Once again, to Ben's question, how would he be dumb enough to use the EMP cannon thing if he's already been here, but then uses it anyway? Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Also, his ability to dodge bullets and stuff as well. It's just kind of like, it's like
his powers are separate from his phase flipping powers. Apparently,
it's strange because it's like he knows what's going to happen because he has the ability to dodge the bullet before you shoot it, and he dodges the fire before he shoots it. But he doesn't know that the EMP coil will shock him.
Also, and maybe the most frustrating part of this entire game is that what's the lady's name?
Sophia.
Coma. Sophia. Thank you. Sweet Pea or Desert Pea or whatever the fuck her name is. At the end, stabs Roth through the chest violently, but then jumps off to kill herself with him, which is like, you've already had so much of your life taken away from this person. You don't have the I understand that, obviously she's been in a forced coma, maybe
that's what I was thinking. I think she was,
but
just
at the same time, but that you're free. You're finally free.
Yeah,
you did all of this. All of this was around you. That was a whole premise of the entire game, was around this Desert Pea woman, and apparently her, amazing whatever that everyone is so in love with that it caused this man to go fucking crazy. And that's it. That's how her story ends. She just kills herself. That's sad. That's not good. Where's her autonomy? Where's her story? Where's her comeback?
The sequel, all about Sophia.
No, she's dead. Well, she jumped into a nuclear
she
reactor.
Can phase flip. Whoa, and it goes back. And
she probably can. But so could Hara, which is the other thing I don't understand, is why doesn't Hara just phase flip and kill himself?
I think Hara only phase flipped with us because he was in the machine. I don't think he has an innate ability to phase flip like we do. Yeah. It's okay.
I thought Sophia had a nice badass moment.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same
coming
thing.
up with the knife and taking him down with her. I also thought she was just done with this. She didn't how much therapy would she need after that to just feel normal? Therapy. I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe she was
depends on how much thinking you can actually do in a coma, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Even regardless of just you've been in a coma for this span of time and going through that. That alone I feel is enough to be I've missed this much a lot of time of my life.
But do you know, right? You're in a coma.
You don't know, but you're obviously...
The difference between 1 day and 10 years is negligible. You have no concept of time.
Sure, but if you wake up the next day and someone tells you that 10 years have gone by, that's going to fuck up your brain a little bit.
Yeah, but we never told her anything.
But she might have been phase flipping with Roth this whole time because he was using her as a...
Yeah,
as we used Hara.
She was just reliving the awful moments over and over again with Roth trying to. I mean, just like Hara followed us into our phase flips, with stopping her from also being back and having to relive being put into a coma over and over and over again from Roth.
Who knows?
Yeah,
who's to say?
Yeah,
who doesn't know? Any of us, because it wasn't explained in this fucking game.
Yeah. Honestly, I liked this very last section. So the reactor goes off. We make it up to the top of the desert and everything. Yeah. We see a helicopter out in the distance, and then who shows up but Roth? Roth is still alive. He is crawling. He is burned and singed from all of this. And he shoots. He shoots like he has a gun in his hand, and he shoots. I think was it Hara that shoots him?
He doesn't
he's
have
like
a gun.
like
he has a sniper rifle that he found somewhere that's just around. Also, how did he get out of the giant nuclear reactor? Did he crawl out? That seems unlikely. He was stabbed through the chest. Don't you think he'd be dead? This was just like one of those like like moments where it's like, come on, man.
This got me though. Like Hara shoots him, but he like shoots while he's getting shot, and it's the all pause and turn around, and your wife, who was like driving the helicopter, she's the one that gets shot. Like this moment got me, and I was like, no. Even if Sarah does end up being fine, but I still liked the moment. The stress in the moment was still I enjoyed it.
Did y'all know this game has quick save and quick load?
Yeah.
Here would have been a better ending. Let me rewrite the ending of this game.
You said there's quick save and quick load?
Yeah. Yes. There's been quick save and quick load the entire time. Anyway, let me rewrite the end of this game for you, okay? Instead of Roth coming back from the inside of a nuclear explosion in which his skin is peeling off and somehow finds a sniper rifle, this is what happens. Okay, we get out onto the desert floor. This scene, our group gets out onto the desert floor quickly before the nuclear reactor blows up. The helicopter approaches to save us after we flag it down. Then, suddenly, as the helicopter's landing, the reactor blows. Oh no! Shrapnel goes everywhere and impales our wife. Oh God. Oh no, she's bleeding. What's happening now? We have to get out of here quickly. That way, look, it makes sense logically in the story. You still get the conceit at the end, which is the whole like Mick ran away from all of his problems and now he's actually staying to support his wife through this problem, even though she's a huge massive cunt, by saying like he left, didn't he? Which is like, really, bitch. Okay, can maybe give it more than 4 seconds before we walk back in the room. Anyway, the point being is that it's not insane and it doesn't rely on a superhuman finding a sniper rifle, crawling through the desert, and then attempting to kill us for apparently no reason, really. Like, don't you think it would be more important for him to try to like survive, figure out how to live, rather than enacting revenge, which makes no sense at the end of the game? Hit me up, Powerhoof. I'll write the sequel.
He looks like he has an assault rifle, not a sniper. So
whatever. It's got a scope on it, which is weird.
So I liked it. I liked the end.
Yeah, well,
I liked the ending too, and I feel like this Dr. Klein had a bit of a funny comedy relief moment where he like looks around and he's like, "What? No water, no transport. We're fucked." Yeah. And people ask about radiation. He's like, "Fuck the radiation. We're just gonna die here.
We're just gonna die here anyways."
Yeah. Then Sarah eventually shows up.
Yeah,
it was nice. It was cute.
Drifter.
Ben, well, how'd you feel about this ending?
Ben is still on quick save.
I know Ben.
He hasn't moved past it.
I didn't know that you can press F5 to quick save and then F7 to quick load.
I mean,
you can phase flip in real time.
You could just hit escape and go to the save that you've quick saved and then load it.
But there was like somebody was saying that there's like hang on, where was it? Because I was trying to see if the devs said anything else about like theories and stuff, but he doesn't seem to be.
No, he's gotten too many hard questions he can't answer.
Evil death.
The ending of the game,
like, this doesn't make sense.
I felt like the ending of the game was fine. There's also a CRT filter.
Necessary.
I felt like it was fine. It was kind of just. It felt very anticlimactic, I guess, is kind of like the word I would use. Like there's kind of like this massive like reactor situation, and I mean it's great that we managed to. I guess the helicopter makes sense because Sarah would have known. She knew roughly where we were going based off of like her helping us find the location and stuff. I felt like it was cool because it kind of gave Mick this like character growth almost. Like he had a history of kind of like running away from problems, and that's how he ended up not being able to say goodbye to Alex. So I don't blame her for being like, oh, he's left, hasn't he? Like I feel like that's kind of like what she expected of him. And then it just ended, and I was like, oh, okay. There's no like, don't get to see Angela's story in the paper. There's no inclination that she ever like wrote a book about any of the experiences of what she witnessed with Roth and his laboratory and all of that stuff. even just like in the credits, like something like on the side that was like, oh, like investigation launched into biotech company or something
you needed the like, where's everybody now?
Yeah,
situation
I felt like it would have been cool.
And,
because I mean, Mick's like, oh, I'll stay if you'll let me, and Sarah's like, yes. And again, this is just me. It would have been nice to kind of see like, oh, like 6 months from that, they've kind of actually rekindled a relationship, and then because at this point they're kind of just like almost like friends who happen to be ex-lovers. So it's kind of like, well, did they actually make that a relationship? Did they actually manage to kind of I wanted to see Mick in therapy. That was my main thing. Like if Mick went to therapy,
Mick needs some therapy.
I would have been like, okay, this is, I can take this as a win for the game. That's kind of but yeah, I thought I had another good 10-15 minutes at least. And then credits started to roll, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're just done. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like a very emotional
ending.
It was
very emotional, for sure.
I cried. So I think they wanted it to linger on the end where he says, I'll stay. Which is the whole point of the game. He's the drifter. But then he's like, no,
he's the stayer now.
I guess.
I'm sorry.
So.
I'll leave. I'll go.
But yeah, so I don't know if they wanted to lean more into the emotional moment instead of just info dumping at the end.
No, and and that's something that's like, for me, very kind of like, I don't know. I'm very weird with ambiguous endings. I either like them very, very ambiguous, or I like it very tied up. I don't. Yeah, ironically, I don't like ambiguous endings. Like I don't. I kind of like knowing.
I feel like we had the same thing with Kentucky, where it was kind of just like ended in an interesting way, and all of us were like, "Oh, okay."
Kentucky, I kind of liked because it left me with a lot of questions around, like, what was real and what wasn't, and what the themes of the game meant and stuff like that. With this, there aren't really any themes for me to kind of dwell on, and I think that's where I would want the closure. Like if there was a
I mean, you just yawning. No, he's yawning. He's like, there's just not enough depth and themes. Just oh yeah, Jesus Christ. Just enjoy the story.
I would have been content, like if they hadn't have wrapped up where everyone was now, but kind of left this question of morality of like, like, are you actually killing somebody if you go back in time and they are no longer dead? If that was kind of explored a bit more, and I was left to ponder on that, but I wasn't really left to ponder on anything other than the emotions of him being reunited with Sarah.
Well, I was pondering a bit on, just because the game ended doesn't mean the story ends. Like him just saying I'll stay doesn't mean he stayed, right? There's a lot of work that needs to happen for him to actually stay. So I was thinking about that a bit.
I know.
Yeah. Therapy and
I think if I'm left pondering on themes or like how something, or like what an ending meant for the world of the game, I can kind of like I can kind of pontify on that a little bit. But everything story wise was for the most part wrapped up. So there wasn't really much for me to kind of question or think on. So
yeah. Well, I mean, Ben, you were pretty much at final thoughts as you were talking here. Did you have any other comments you wanted to say about this? And as always, what are you scoring the Drifter?
I won't go too much, but like I think overall, I did enjoy my time. This is definitely I still don't know if it's a me thing or a point and click thing. I don't know what, like, I feel like this is, from what I've seen of other point and click games, this one is actually like quite well structured and is actually kind of like quite well done. I enjoyed the story. The story kind of left me guessing a lot. Now, a lot of this is like putting aside some of the plot holes that have kind of like come up as I've been thinking over like what it means of certain actions and stuff like that. I think if you can kind of put all of that to one side, then it's a really enjoyable experience. It's a really, really great story. You do kind of question a lot of like what is real, what isn't real, what is Mick hallucinating and stuff like that. The puzzles, except for that period in the middle, the puzzles for the most part are actually regularly like challenging, like to the point I'd say like it's a normal puzzle game. It makes you think a little bit, and you have to kind of think of, how am I going to use this? Is this going to be relevant later? what would I score it? I think honestly, if I'm honest, like an 8.
Okay.
That's so high.
I think
you made it sound like it was gonna be.
I mean,
yeah,
no, that makes sense.
I think like an 8. Like I think
okay,
and I will give it like an asterisk. That is an 8, ignoring all of the potholes and the kind of like the time loop mechanics and all of that stuff. Like if I'm taking that into consideration, it'd probably be closer to like a 6. So I'm going to cut it in the middle and I'm going to say 7.
Okay,
it's going down.
I've retconned it.
It's bringing this
because I'm giving it an 8. It's a 7.
It's a 7.
A 5. Who knows?
I phase flipped and now it's a 7.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen all the endings and everything. That's so funny.
No, I think that kind of matches more like taking into consideration some of the plot holes and the flaws that I feel that those bring. But I think overall, even with that, it is a really enjoyable experience. It is a really, really good puzzle game. Probably too much so that like you will need a walkthrough for certain points unless you've been listening to our coverage and you kind of know what the puzzles are and stuff.
Yeah.
That umbrella puzzle is gonna haunt me until my fucking dying day. Like I'm never gonna forget that.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a really good experience and it is a good story. And I think if people are at all interested in the point and click game, you should play it.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's interesting because at the end of this, like 2 things happened. One, I was like, man, I really want to play more of these games, and 2, I don't know, I had a very like blissful, like happy ending. Like I mean, again, I also am the type of person that doesn't question things. I don't ask questions. If I'm presented with information, I usually just take it at surface level. But even again, just going through the ending and everything that was happening with Mick and Sarah, and sure, it is ambiguous, but it kind of it gets the player thinking of how this story could go, and it lets you kind of fill in the blanks. I mean, there's lots of games that have ambiguous endings. Sure, there's less deep moral stuff that we can ponder about, like with something like Kentucky. Like I think all 3 of us had different interpretations of the ending, and all of us had like half of that episode is us just like talking about the ending of that game, which is great. And so there's not a ton of that here, but that didn't take away from the experience for me. Like the visual style, I think, is beautiful. I love the pixel graphics. The music does a really good job. All the ambiance and sound design and everything too. And while there is plot holes that I do recognize, I don't know. At the end of it, I was just kind of like, it was one of the experiences we play games where it felt like it made a lasting impression where I would like, I'm going to think back to like, oh, our time playing the Drifter, our experiences playing the Drifter, our conversation playing it, everything. I love a fantastical realism. I like a game that starts very grounded and kind of deviates. And even if throughout the whole time you're trying to figure out if this is Mick hallucinating or not, and then it turns out like the Malingi are real and all these creatures are like actual monsters that are chasing Mick down, like that was a cool kind of revelation to find out. I know time travel is hard and it's every time we play a game that does it, it feels like it is impossible. It seems like everybody makes some mistake. It is different every time, but no one seems to have like grasped the idea of how to do this very well. And maybe one day we'll find a game where we're like, no notes. They did time travel and they did it well. But I don't think any of those issues, at least for me, put a damper on the experience as a whole. I try to also get my like score review before coming here because yes, I'm someone that takes at face value, but I'm also easily swayed too. So I'm like, let me make sure that I have my score before you guys tell me all the plot holes. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I guess I didn't think about those things, huh?
It's so pokey pill. It's fucking
yeah, I really am. But I was gonna give this a 7 out of 10. I would say this for us 3. Chrissy, that's you can do whatever you want, but we're not doing half steps here. I would say that this is probably like a high 6, but I'm gonna push it to 7 because we're not doing half steps. And I enjoyed the experience. I think there's some problems. I think that this isn't for everybody. I think this genre is probably hard for some people to get into, but if you like point and click games, if you like solving puzzles, I think this is a fun one to do. I think it's a fun game to play for sure. Kai, it is your turn. You are up, buddy. How did you feel about the Drifter and what is your score?
Sure. I think people know a lot of my criticisms of this game. You know, obviously, I think the ending's weak. I think I can't stand the voice acting. It really, I tried to
You
get
talked
over
about that
it
in
the
the earlier
entire
episodes, yeah.
game, and it's just so
Is it still
obnoxious.
Mick?
It's just like, it's
Is it just
bad.
Mick?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
bad 2000s action star line delivery for like 7 hours straight, which is just, it's too much. I wish they wouldn't have given him a voice. It would have been better just to have like
silent
a silent,
protagonist.
like, yeah, like protagonist main character that you can apply whatever voice you want to give. But you know, hindsight's 2020, I guess. My biggest complaint with this game has nothing actually to do with the way that they approach the game itself. First of all, I don't think this is magical realism. This is just sci-fi and time travel. There's a level of,
so sorry, they're drag racing outside my house apparently.
There's a level of like grounded in reality that you need for magical realism, and a very like, it's a complicated weave to do, right? Like it is like Kentucky approach it. It's very like, oh, this is real life, but then there's just wild shit that happens. It doesn't make any sense. And you're like, that boy's a bird. That boy's brother's a bird.
Remember that.
It doesn't make any sense. This doesn't do anything wild enough to be like, to catch me off guard. Like it just is a bunch of like tropes that have existed for a very long time, which is like time travel and like death looping, and it doesn't really explore themes in what I would say is a deep and developed way. Like, yes, there's obviously like ideas about grief and loss and what that means, but at the same time it's approached in such a like surface level, nascent way that it just feels like they're trying to utilize a trope to make a point rather than like actually say something about it, right? Like, you know, the idea of homelessness, the idea of being a drifter, like that's not really deeply explored in any way, and it doesn't humanize what it means to be unhoused. It doesn't humanize what it means to have experienced loss. It just takes it as like, oh well, we all know what this thing is, and so like, you know, you could justify it, which I don't find very compelling and interesting as far as like a way to drive a story forward. And I think it's just missing something. Like it's just, there's just not there. Like when you play, you know, because I was playing and still am playing Disco alongside this, and there's just something there.
That game is just dripping with sauce. It is.
It's got swag. It's got sauce. It's got humor. There's just something. There's some piece of that. And yes, the amount of writing ability that whoever fucking wrote Disco has is on a whole complete other level than even most AAA games. And I'm not,
isn't he like a novelist?
It's not, I'm not using that comparison to say everything has to be Disco, but I am using that to be that there has to be something that is like so compelling that it draws you in, especially when you can't necessarily rely on the mechanics of the game in something like a point and click, right? Like even, you know, I talked about the case of the Golden Idol, and I really love those games. And there is also just something there that is so compelling and unique and interesting. And this, I just felt could be anything. Like, it's just like you said, like, I remember with my time with this, I probably won't. I will probably erase this game from my mind, and someone will mention the Drifter, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember sort of playing that. Like, there's nothing here that I'm really tied to or will think back on, and that's disappointing. You know, we often say on this I often say on this podcast that the greatest crime is you know, a lost opportunity to do something great. And like, clearly the person who made the engine of this game and who made this game has a lot of talent and a lot of ability. I think they just need to focus a little bit more on what is the story they're trying to tell, doing a bit more world building, doing a bit more character development. It felt like there was a lot of effort put into like puzzles and graphics, and not a lot of effort into the foundations of how to tell a good story and how to build a good character. So I'm going to give this a 6.
Okay.
Which is, you know, definitely it could be a lot worse. I'm generally a harsh critic when it comes to
I was like,
things.
6 is actually not bad. I think that's a good.
I think I think the things that I enjoy in games are very different than the things that most people.
We all three of us review differently too. We review our games.
I think that most people who play this will enjoy it, especially if you like point and click games, especially if you like horror, sci-fi. Like, I think it's a good like overall thing. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not what I look for in games like this. And when I went to my AI overlord and I said, give me something like Norco and Kentucky Route Zero, I wouldn't necessarily, once again, proving that AI is fucking stupid and doesn't know anything. This is nothing like either of those things. It just happens to be an indie game that's a point-and-click adventure game. Like, that's not helpful. So those are my thoughts, feelings, thoughts, and experiences.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Chrissy, passing it over to you. I'm curious of kind of overall how you thought about the Drifter, how this compares to kind of other point and clicks that you've played. And again, you don't have to review a score if you don't want to, but there's no stipulations. You can do whatever you want. The floor is yours.
Okay. I don't really know how to follow on that because I like the game and I didn't.
My opinion is often wrong, and our audience will tell me that continually. So please don't just. It's okay.
Okay. Because I was gonna open with I really liked the voice acting, and you just immediately said you hated it.
I think it's just Mick.
It's just Mick, and it's just very specifically my own whatever.
You're bringing something else to this, aren't you? Like there's something else somewhere.
I had a bad experience with an Australian as a child.
Okay, because I thought it was something new to have some Australian voice actors. I thought that's not something that's done that often in the games that I play, so I enjoyed it. And they actually didn't use that much Aussie slang. They used like one or two words that I had to go look up. But other than that, I really liked the voice acting. The game, I didn't really think that deeply about the time loops and the science behind it. I followed it more on an emotional level or story level, and I immediately found Mick unlikable. Like in the beginning, I didn't like him. He runs away from his problems. I didn't identify with that. I didn't like that, but I did appreciate the arc that he had throughout the story. In the end, even just being willing to stay, but people just constantly assume he's gonna leave, which is they're speaking on the evidence that they have, but they are also not really giving him any opportunity to be any better. They're just also reinforcing this just running away from everything. So I don't know, they all should probably have a little group therapy or something session, just everyone figure it out. And I also enjoyed is the wrong word, but the use of his son, like the character Alec, I really enjoyed that in the game because he wasn't good. Like he was sometimes tricking Mick, he was sometimes making him die another time, or he was actually just trying to make him stay with him longer, although he was just a hallucination. It was never actually even the kid, so I don't really know how to feel about it, but I like how they used the character, because you think he would hallucinate the kid and it would be just happy memories, but it really isn't. And sometimes he just appears listening to his Walkman and he's not doing anything. So I really enjoyed the use of Alec throughout the story. But it was a good, they call it a modern point and click because of this time loop element, and I don't know, the fast-paced story. Normally they are even a bit slower, so this is also sort of a new approach, and the way that they created the sense of urgency in the game, where you're not going to die forever, you actually have time to figure out the time loop, but you still feel like, oh no, what if this time I don't figure it out and he doesn't come back and stuff like that. So I thought that was an interesting approach. But to be honest, this wasn't even my favorite point and click from last year. There were some others. There was another one that approached time travel in a way that I liked more. I don't know if you've heard of have you heard of Old Skies?
Old Skies. No.
Yeah. Because they really control the time travel element. Yeah. They have like this company that investigates all the timelines and makes sure that the butterfly effect will do nothing. And as soon as you do anything that will affect the timeline, they're like, no, you can't do it. But it's a point and click, so
it's got real cool art style.
I was like, we may have to play this. This was cool.
That's
another time travel game. That definitely won't be dangerous.
And there was another one that came out, Foolish Mortals, which was more classic point and click. That was like hand-drawn art style, good voice acting, set in Louisiana, voodoo, magic, haunted house. Yeah, that was way more up my alley. Even though I like pixel art a lot, that one wasn't pixel art. But so there are games that I rather ranked above the Drifter.
What was that other one called? Foolish Mortals?
Foolish Mortals. That was my game of the year. That was I played it in one night, sat through it. I think I looked up one puzzle So the puzzles were actually manageable.
Oh, dude, this looks like oh fuck, was that fucking game? Sorry, I'm talking to myself. And I've just overcooked you. Sorry.
And that Foolish Mortals was developed by 2 people, and it's their first game.
Wow.
And it's just like a smash hit. Yeah. And Old Skies is from Wedget Eye Games, which is like they've been developing since the mid 2000s, I think. What would that be? 2009 the first game came out. So they've also been in the point and click development for a while, and it's also just one guy and maybe an artist that develops all of these
that's
games.
awesome.
So yeah, so those were other ones that actually stood out more, but the Drifter was a good game. I would rate. I'm not going to rate it because I'm not good at rating games.
No,
I think
you don't have to.
I rate everything between like 8 and 10. I can't give games bad ratings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. They tried to do something different. Maybe they need, but this was also their first game, I think. So you have to take that into account.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, well, this is, again, reason why I wanted you to come on to the show is the knowledge of point-and-click adventure games and how Drifter compares. And looking at Old Skies and Foolish Mortals, both of these look great. Like, they look awesome. And like you were saying, I feel like this genre dabbles in the, like, a little bit of, like, the fantasy side of things rather than the sci-fi. And just with the Drifter and Old Skies looks very sci-fi, too. I think it's a cool genre to do this this type of game into, like this game genre. So that's awesome. Just do back-to-back, we'll just do back-to-back point-and-click adventures. We'll do Old Skies next, we'll do Foolish Mortals after that.
Well, speaking of, you have to announce your next main series.
Ooh, I do.
No, we do. What are we doing about the overall score? Because the overall score is 6.6 recurring for the 3 of us.
So it's 666.
It is.
So
indeed.
it's a 7 then.
Yeah, I guess we round it up to a 7.
Round up to a 7. Okay. The Drifter, we gave a 7. Well, you gave a 7, I gave a 7, Kai gave a 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a 7 out of 10, which is good. And again, for those listening, especially if this is your first time, it's wild that you started at the finale of the Drifter. You should go back and listen to the rest of the Drifter, first of all. But all of us review in very different ways. We don't review in a specific way. I like just having an overall score because it's just fun to do. At the end of the day, it's arbitrary. Numbers don't mean anything. Listen to our words and then associate our personalities.
Or don't listen to our words.
I guess so. Yeah, or don't listen to our words either. That's true too. Yeah. Like a 7 for Kai is different than a 7 for me. Like we review games very differently too. So,
yes,
take that with a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
Well, next,
that being said,
the next game we are going to be playing is my choice. And I say choice, but like I said, we've been taking recommendations from people.
What is an EA game that you would choose?
Oh, yeah. We've been taking recommendations from people on games they would like to see for the show, if they would like to see us play through. So I am pulling from our list of game recommendations. And this recommendation comes from Matt Storm. We talked about Matt earlier in the episode from Fun and Games. Matt has a couple on these, and I bounced between some of them. We might still do it eventually. I was originally going to do 9 Souls, but literally in this recording, or maybe it was the last one, Kai talked about how he would hate a Metroidvania Souls-like game, which is exactly what 9 Souls is. So I was like,
I appreciate the pivot.
Maybe not. And this game I owned and kind of wanted to check out. It has kind of mixed reviews, so it's going to be interesting to see how we like it. But the next game we're going to be playing through is Immortals of Avium, which is a first-person magic game. It's like a first-person shooter where you're using magic and you're like part of it's very like generic, like you're part of like magic war and you're in the magic military and you're doing a lot of
Someone suggested we play this?
It was Matt. Matt suggested we play Immortals of Avium.
Matty boy, why?
I don't know.
Yeah, it has mixed reviews.
What is that shitty game that you played? That was the Bethesda game that was essentially just like
Avowed.
Yeah, game.
Yeah,
game.exe.
This
is big Avowed vibes.
So I've played maybe like 30 minutes of this, and this is way worse than Avowed.
No,
the whole series on it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It's only gonna be a handful of episodes. We'll have fun. We'll have fun with it.
What is this called? Immortals?
Immortals of Avium.
I love the fact that you're like, this is way worse than Avowed, and we're gonna do a whole series.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be fun.
Avowed wasn't very good.
I think the gameplay of this looks fun. It looks interesting using the first person magic. I've seen people talk about how the writing and the characters are very like cringy CW characters. So we'll see. We'll see how it is. But Matt recommended it, so we are going to be playing Matt's recommendation.
What did you say this game was on Steam?
$60.
It's $5.99.
What?
Yeah, it's on sale for 90%.
Oh my god, the play along effect happening in real time.
Should I buy the deluxe edition? What is the difference?
Sure, why not?
$6.99 for the deluxe edition.
You reactivated your Game Pass for this. Don't then buy the deluxe edition.
I have not reactivated anything yet.
Oh,
I canceled my Game Pass.
Okay.
Right. Well,
that's crazy because when I messaged the two of you, which was just a couple days ago, this was $60. That's why I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna make them pay for this." But
developers are like,
and I will be buying it on Steam because I cannot reactivate my Game Pass for less than $5.99. So
yes. Well, I tell the community that they can also look for this sale, but this episode comes out at the end of June, so this game will be maybe it'll come back around and be on sale again. Who knows? Yeah,
maybe.
But yes, that's what we're gonna be playing through. I don't have a full breakdown of the schedule just yet, so stay tuned to socials and Discord to see how we're gonna be breaking down Immortals of Avium. A little bit of the background here. We're kind of playing around with episode uploads and schedules and how we're uploading things, so just stay tuned to that. It won't be a little too much different for you guys, but we're playing around with some things in the back here. So yeah, you guys excited to play through this?
No,
I'm not gonna lie to you, Joe. I'm down to play any game. I'm down to give anything a go.
Yeah.
You've not done a good job of selling this to me, dog. You're like, it's worse than Avowed, and we're gonna play the whole game.
Damn. Ben said, you didn't sell this to me.
It's okay, because it's a recommendation. It doesn't need to be sold. We're playing it because someone else told us to play through it. Yeah.
Do you know what, Jared?
I will not be following along with this.
We lost.
Looking up again from the backlog, maybe.
I don't know anyone will be following along with this playthrough except for Matt.
Matt will be here. That's all we need. It's one person.
Matt was like,
that's the great.
Traumatized me enough. Someone else has to play this now.
You know what? I will say this: it's probably going to be bad enough that it's going to be fun to talk about. And
we will get Matt on an episode too, so Matt can talk about why they recommended it and everything.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, exactly.
That's
the best thing about play along. Sometimes there's games you love. Sometimes there's games you're like, "Hey, no way I'm playing that." And luckily, listeners can choose to do that, but we cannot. Unfortunately, we are the.
There's ray tracing. All right, I'm in.
If game looked pretty, Kai's back in.
I'm tweaking them settings. That's what I'm going to do first.
Well, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for getting to the end of the Drifter, the whole series, as always. Chrissy, thank you so much for coming on and talking about this. This was such a fun time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more time for the listeners at home. Let them know where they can find you and all of your content as well.
So I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok as Pointyclick Reader, and I don't have a great upload schedule, but please look around there and I will try and be more consistent.
Yes, I feel that with uploading
The
social
curse
content
of content creation.
Yeah, the actually doing of the content creation part is the social media part is always like, I have to be extremely intentional or I just don't do it. And it just doesn't happen. So it's like, but again, be excited for Immortals of Avium, which is going to be our next main series. Look out for that.
I mean, sorry, I'm just looking at the description. I mean, it's done by the creative director of Dead Space and Call of Duty.
They laid off 40% of the staff immediately after this, and then they furloughed and shuttered the entire thing the year later. So something tells me that they weren't successful.
Immortals of Avium didn't.
You get to unlock and upgrade more than 25 spells and 80 talents and craft hundreds of pieces of magical
25
gears.
is such a small number.
Well, it's interesting.
A handful.
We've never done like a RPG like this where we can all kind of have different builds. So that'll be an interesting conversation. That'll be interesting.
And it's only 14 hours.
Yeah, it's not long. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It'll be okay.
Do you know, I'm gonna try and go in with no preconceptions and see how we get on.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
In the next episode of Play Along Podcast, Ben is going to be hosting a Family Feud style game show. June is all about game shows. We did one Jeopardy, and now we're doing a Family Feud style game. It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to see how you've seen me host, and you're like, I could do better than that. We could do much better.
The main character of this game's name is Jack, spelled identically to Jack. That's like having a game completely unrelated and being like Mario, the main character of my game.
Like Jack from Jack and Daxter. Is that the JAK?
It's JAK. It's literally the same. They couldn't add a C, and they're like, no, we're gonna just sorry. Continue. Next game. Yeah, whatever.
We're not even here yet. And Kai's already ranting about a game we haven't played yet.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Den's gonna host the game show. It's gonna be fun. They're always fun, even if they're chaotic. So be excited for that. But until then, again, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting the show. And we will see you all next week. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Whoa.